Hello class, today's a pretty easy lesson. We're just going to be finding the domain of functions just from graphing. So this is more of a lesson on Desmos. We've found domains before in this class, and I know you've found domains before in previous classes. So let's just remember, the domain of a function are all of its possible x values. So when looking at the graph, where does the graph exist looking from left to right? So that's kind of what we're talking about here. And we can write an example of what a domain would look like. Is some of them, and in fact a lot of them, exist from negative infinity to positive infinity. They go on forever. They go on forever to the left, and they go on forever to the right. So we would say it exists from negative infinity to positive infinity. Another example, sometimes they don't exist forever. So sometimes it'd be something like it goes from 3 to positive infinity. Well, rather, what if it includes 3? Then remember it would need a bracket at 3. So remember how that works. If it's a parenthesis, it means it's not including that value. If it's a bracket, it means it does include that value. And with infinity signs, we always just write parentheses. You'll never see an infinity with a bracket. That's just how it is. So let's go through these examples, and this really isn't that bad. And we're just going to look at the domain. Find the domain just from graphing. So you'll want to use Desmos. And I have Desmos up here on my iPad here. So I went ahead and I graphed this first function, 3x plus 2, and it looks like it goes forever, right? It's a straight line, it's a linear function, and I zoom out and it's unchanging. So we would say this exists from negative infinity to positive infinity. This thing will always exist, and that's going to be the case with linear functions always. So this exists from negative infinity to positive infinity. Let's take a look at the next example. I'm going to go ahead and graph x squared minus 3. And here we are given a parabola, right? It's a quadratic function, so we are expected given a parabola. Now, this thing also goes left and right forever. Although it goes up much quicker than it goes to the right or left, if we zoom out, we will see that this thing goes forever and ever. So this, what am I doing here? Parabolas also exist from negative to positive infinity. Let's take a look at another one, the square root of x minus 3. Now, when we get square roots, that's when our domain doesn't always exist for all real numbers. So let's see, we have x minus 3, and let me just get a nice view here. So here we see that this function doesn't exist at all x values, right? In fact, it doesn't exist any left, what am I doing here? It doesn't exist to the left of this point right here. It only exists to the right of it. So remember how we would write something like that. Well, where does it start? It starts at 3. So we'd say the domain goes from 3, and it goes to the right forever. So that means it goes from 3 to positive infinity. This thing will never end as it goes to the right. It just ends as it goes to the left. So square roots give us interesting examples. Let's go on to the last one here. We have the square root of x squared plus 7 and then minus 1. And then let's see, minus 1. So let's take a look at this now. It looks like this function also goes forever as we go to the left and to the right. So although it's a square root, what's affecting it is the square that's under it. So these square roots of squares, if you will exist from negative infinity to positive infinity. So that's all we're doing today, just graphing these functions and seeing where these things exist when looking from left to right. And we're just trying to bound the function, like where does it end? So most of these will be from negative to positive infinity, but sometimes we'll get ones that aren't. So look for these square roots. That's generally when they won't go from positive to negative, or negative to positive infinity. So that's all I have for you all today. Get started on the worksheet. Let me know if you have questions. Bye.